How do you know that an anime villain is unbelievably strong? The simple answer: when they start flexing on their opponents. Be it by wits or brute force, great anime villains always give you a reason to take them seriously. Some of the most menacing of them, like Thorkell and Toji Fushiguro, do that by either playing around with a hopeful protagonist or straight up stabbing the world's greatest sorcerer in the neck, respectively. And just when it wasn't clear already, today we're looking at the best moments when badass anime villains flexed on their opponents. The greatest sea emperor Kaku wanted to beat Yujiro Hanma, the world's strongest creature, and prove that the skill of Chinese martial arts can't ever be bested by raw power. And so when their match began in the Great Rahaitai tournament, Emperor Kaku wasted no time in showing how big of a punch his frail old body can pack. The audience was left speechless, but Yujiro, on the other hand, not so much. Yujiro plucked a single hair off the Emperor and sent him flying back with his fist. Yujiro continued to hammer him down along with all the respect Chinese martial arts had gained over centuries. Yujiro felt so pitiful for the Emperor, in fact, that he just stood there literally flexing all 10,000 muscles in his chest and withstanding loads of hits while not even breaking a sweat. When Yujiro did decide to end the match with a terrifying strike, he realized the Sea Emperor had passed away due to old age. The irony is when you later found out that the great Chinese master actually faked his death because he realized he couldn't defeat Yujiro, and that just goes to show you how monstrous Yujiro truly is underneath all the small talk. Flexing your demonic muscles is one thing, but using your wits as a normal human to go up against the strongest jujutsu sorcerer is on a whole other level of flex. Despite having zero cursed energy, Toji mopped the floor with Goji, the world's strongest jujutsu sorcerer, and then flexed his intuition and cunning in front of Geto before doing him the same courtesy. Toji evaded the entirety of Geto's attacks, beams and curses with ease, and kept flaunting how he, a simple monkey with a sword, took out the world's best sorcerers. Though to be fair, Toji did have a heavenly pact which granted him heightened senses and an insanely strong body. Nonetheless, it was a badass moment of a badass anime villain flexing on his opponent. The fight with Geto ended shortly after that when Toji killed the Rainbow Dragon and the apparition, then sliced up Geto like a cucumber and continued to boast about him being powerless. Our next flex, pun intended, is by King Bradley, everybody's second or third least favorite Fiora, and the estranged Sin of Wrath from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. If you've watched the anime, you already know where this is heading. Bradley's solo invasion on the military headquarters is one of the oldest flexes by an anime villain. Olivia's forces had taken over the headquarters in an attempt to stop Father's evil plan, but they never expected Bradley would pop up at the front gates, especially since they had blown up his train and thought he was dead. Bradley charged with a head-on assault, deflecting bullets with his sword, slicing a tank's torpedo in half, and then slaughtering all the soldiers situated inside the building as if it were nothing. He proceeded to single-handedly neutralize the tank in an uphill battle with only his sword, leaving everyone speechless and trembling at the thought of who he could kill next. The fighting went on for quite a while, but Bradley being so confident in his skill that he chose to fight hundreds of men unprepared is perhaps the biggest flex any badass anime villain could ever pull on their opponent. We've talked about witty flexes, demonic flexes, and unplanned Giga Chad flexes. Now it's time for one of the coldest flexes by an anime villain in recent memory. It's about Itoshi Rin, decimating Team Asagi. Being the best football player in Blue Lock, Rin perceived Asagi and his team as mediocre, half-baked wannabes, which wouldn't have hit that hard to be honest, if it weren't that just after saying that, Rin scored a goal from the kickoff spot, a feat that's nearly impossible to perform. Rin continued to flex his awesomeness throughout the whole match with both words and actions. He made another goal directly from the corner, called Nagi, Asagi, and Bakura garbage, and then finished the match by scoring another stunning goal. This is nowhere near as frightening as blowing up a tank or killing sorcerers, But even so, the way Rin easily won was more than enough to crush any dreams. So yeah, it was one stone cold moment for everyone on that field. There's another badass anime villain flex you should see, and it's from Dragon Ball Super. And no, it's not Vegeta flexing his Super Saiyan Blue form on Kaba, even though it doesn't get any better than flexing on a 17-year-old. The moment we're talking about is Jiren versus Goku in the Tournament of Power. Goku's entire universe was at stake, so he went on the offensive against Jiren. But things turned out worse than they did when Beerus whooped Goku and Vegeta into outer space. Jiren stood still, blocking all of Goku's punches with a finger, and when Jiren did fight, he utterly destroyed Goku. That's the only time when Can You Beat Goku though fanboys went for a walk. Fast forwards a little bit and Goku unlocks Ultra Instinct, another broken power-up. Fast forward things a little more and Jiren's blowing away Goku with a ki blast. When this episode first aired, everyone in the world was shocked at how unbelievably strong Jiren was, and years later it's still one of the most brutal flexes made by a badass anime villain. Till now, we've been talking about anime villains flexing their power. Now get ready for an anime villain flexing his wallet. Francis Fitzgerald is ranked among the richest anime billionaires of all time. His special ability increases his physical ability directly proportional to the amount of money he spends. So if you ever imagined what $1 billion will get you, then wonder no more. In his fight against Atsushi, Francis swiftly neutralized him, and it only cost him a couple of million. Then Otagawa joined in, and Francis threw in a couple more million into the pot, taking them both head on. Bam! One punch, 1 million. One kick, 10 million. Francis was spending money left and right, and eventually he exhausted all of his reserves down to the last zero. Someone watching the fight for the first time might not notice how big of a flex that is, but you've got to admit, there aren't any other badass enemy villains who burnt through billions in minutes. The next flex on our list features Thorkell, the Brute from Vinland Saga. The first season of Vinland Saga is as bloody as it gets, and Thorkell is one of the main contributors. This 7'7" jolly giant loves the thrill of fighting, and because he's so strong, practically everything he does seems extraordinary. He can hit targets miles away with pinpoint accuracy and cut down a bazillion enemies in the blink of an eye. He danced with some of the strongest characters, including Askeladd and Thorfinn, which is the least of his feats. Thorkell is right up there with some of the most badass anime characters ever, and frankly, if you like tons of smirks and smug villain moments, his fights in Vinland Saga have no shortage of them. Speaking of anime fights, another anime built on blood, sweat, and death is Netflix's Kengan Ashura. One of the contestants in the infamous Kengan Annihilation Tournament, Okubo, had to face the reigning champion Agito. Okubo was a great MMA fighter himself, but he knew something about Agito was off, something which he didn't realize until it was too late. As soon as the match started, Agito, who appeared calm and collected, started bombarding Okubo with tons of kicks and punches. Just as Okubo decided to retaliate, Agito changed how he fought altogether. To add insult to injury, Agito let Okubo get atop him, and when Okubo did the ground and pound maneuver, Agito blocked every single one of his punches. Shortly after that, Agito decided he was done playing around. His facial expression changed along with his stance, and he went berserk, beating up Okubo mercilessly and then finishing him off with a brutal front suplex. Nobody in the anime had yet been able to win so effortlessly, and their jaws dropped after looking at Agito. This was one instance of the innumerable badass flexes made by villains in Kengan Ashura. The name is exceptionally good, and that's saying something for shows made by Netflix, so when you can, do check it out. If you've stuck around till now, you've probably figured out that whenever badass anime villains flexed on their opponents, it's always during a fight, and to finish everything off, we've saved the best one for last. Feeling sorry because of the way society bashes villains and praises heroes, Garou vowed to become the ultimate hero hunter. He searched for any hero in hopes of fighting them, and luckily he found Tank Top Master, an S-class hero. The battle between them destroyed the roadsides, the walls, and the road itself. Tank Top Master's blow left Garou bruised and bloody, but then a switch flipped inside Garou, and like a monster, he knocked out Tank Top Master and his crew of C and B class heroes. This time, Garou was ambushed by 8 formidable A- class heroes. Despite being poisoned, Garou didn't back down. He took all of them on simultaneously and still managed to win. A second later, Genos, another extremely powerful S-class hero, makes a superhero landing out of nowhere. And what does Garou do? Flex how he took down everyone who the Hero Association sent after him. Even in bad shape, Garou didn't hesitate to fight Genos. And just when things between Genos and Garou were ending, bam! 2 more S-class heroes join in, beat up Garou, but how does he respond? He powers up. It's unbelievable how strong Garou is, and if it wasn't for Phoenix Man rescuing Garou, he definitely would have sent every hero there to hell.